in Cleburne, Texas, and this is an old house that the owner just bought, and they're fixing to like demolish, she says. So repairs and all that is not an issue, but I've started already up in here beneath the outer siding and then the old inner siding. There's a hive, so gonna get to peel all this stuff off and have at it. Although I'm not gonna do the actual removal part tonight. I'm gonna do just the removing of the siding and whatnot. I'm not gonna remove the hive because that apparently is a big hive, and I don't think that I have enough supers to accommodate it, so I'm gonna have to go buy some tomorrow. That's it for now. It's about an hour later, I believe it's 9:30 or so, 9:45, and I've got the kind of the inner siding. There's like this outer stuff, and then there's the inner siding, I guess the old wood stuff. So I've got that taken off and exposed a section in here. I would have shown the hive itself, but I went ahead and covered it up so that it's insulated and the brood don't, you know, get chilled or anything. I'm gonna leave for the night because it's considerably bigger than just one super, probably two. There's bee all around me. So tomorrow I'm gonna go by Atwood's and get a couple more supers with frames, come back and probably work on this during the day, because it's supposed to be pretty nice. It's like 88 for the high as opposed to 100 like it's been for the last couple days. So hopefully all those nurse bees get back on the brood and keep it warm. So yeah, tomorrow it is. Alright, so it is 7:30 on July 24th, 2019. This is the next day. Got my tools, vacuum, trash pile, light and such, and a couple of deep hives to put the bees in. And there they are, just smoked them a little bit. But this was the original hole they were getting in, that knot hole. And I put the camera up there yesterday, up in there, the snake camera. And it goes all the way up there, so I'm thinking that it's gonna be 2 full boxes and then some, probably, because I'm starting to think that it goes up into the attic or something, or up in the space right below the roof. Can't think of the name. I'm gonna have to pry the light socket off right there. Hopefully it's not live. Probably is. And there's a bunch of wires and such in here. Gonna have to get out somehow. Yeah, I'm hoping to be done by midnight, maybe. We'll see. So here's my setup. Here's what I do is I got my own bottom board I made. Yeah, it's out of MDF. This is just temporary. And I wedge in another piece of wood from the sides so that it kind of seals at the entrance. This is the front of the hive. Put it on like that. And that way it seals the bottom. And then if I use a second box, if I have a lot of bees and I got a second box, I just stack that on top. But assuming there's only one, then this little chintzy screen goes on there like that. And it's pretty tight fit. I can get it on there with more or less one hand. There we go. Anyway, it goes on like that, and then the ratchet strap goes over like this. And actually the other one, I cinch it down. Of course, this on the side so that it doesn't rip the screen. Cinch it down so that it's all compressed together and stays together. And again, like if I'm going to be using 2 deep supers, they just stack on top of each other and the screen goes on top of that. This piece of wood down here that blocks the entrance, it's a very tight fit, so I'm not concerned about it getting out or coming loose or something like that. I'm sure I could do something to secure it a little better, but it's just temporary. Anyway, so I'll load the whole thing in my car and once I have all the bees and the comb and everything in there, load it in my car and head back. And this way, I really don't have to disturb it too much. I can just slide the box back a little bit and take this little bottom piece out, slide it back into place, set it up where it goes, take the screen off and put an actual telescoping cover on or something. Just cover the top, and there you go. There's the hive. So as for the vacuum, I got one of these bucket heads. You can get them at Home Depot. I think they're like 40 bucks or something. Got some vent holes on the top, just small enough so that they can't squeeze through. And at the bottom, we got a hole cut out so that this vinyl tubing, can just squeeze in there, really tight fit, so it stays in. And I think it's like, I don't know, 8 feet, 6 feet or something like that. And just kind of suck them up. So the input here still sucks, but it also sucks through the hose. The combination of splitting it between the original input and all the vents and the vinyl gives me just the right amount of suction so that I'm not injuring bees. Although sometimes I have to get pretty close and it kind of squishes a couple, but usually lose way less than 1%, maybe 0.5% or something. I mean, it's very, very few bees. And then I got my bucket for junk comb. I got one from yesterday. It's mainly just honey. There's a little bit of pollen, but that's, I guess, old drone comb or something that they had. And so yeah, that's my setup. And like I said, that hive probably goes pretty high. It's probably going to be 2 hive boxes. I'm not too concerned about saving too much honey. I saw a bunch of hive beetles in there. As I was prying this siding away here, hive beetles came scurrying out. There's some evidence of wax moth. But there are tons of bees returning with bright orange pollen. Not sure what kind of pollen that is, but hey, that's awesome. So there's a pretty good pollen source nearby. I could probably start vacuuming up these bees. They're pretty thick, big old beard of bees. But I think I'll follow some of you guys' advice and smoke them. Take the comb down, smoke them upwards, and then just kind of dump them into the box and vacuum up the remaining. So I'll save the vacuuming for last and smoke them off the comb, as you guys said. So it's 7:40, I believe. Yeah, 7:40. I'll update shortly. All right, it is 11:10. Same night. Got roughly half the hive in there in frames. So I took off the top boards. Got my dad to bring over a ladder and a skill saw so I could cut these things. Just barely fit the skill saw up there. But I got it cut out, and it looks like they've well, you can't see it now, but they put a bunch of propolis up here. Propolis, however you pronounce it. And looks like that's the extent of the hive. It probably doesn't go up into the attic or anything, since, again, you can't see right here, but I'll smoke these bees off a little bit. And the smoker's offline. Just 1 second. All right, I had to relight my smoker. So get some of these bees off there. So I don't think that the hive goes any further, because this area right here, this is all the brood section. I've been removing brood, just got into the honey up here. So that's just solid honey, or nectar and honey. And then the brood is in here in the center. So unless they have like honey way up there in the top or something, or off to the side, which is not very likely. That should be the extent of the hive. Alright, it is midnight, and got probably about 90% of them or so. Got just about all the brood comb. There's just a little section here. This is mainly pollen and nectar. But what's crazy is, and they've been bunching at the top, of course, and I've been sucking them up. But there's also a bunch of them down here. I sucked up probably a pound of bees. They're all just kind of hiding out down there. And yeah, haven't seen the queen yet. But I've been smoking them off the comb, taking the comb, sucking up the big clumps and keeping the vacuum on so that they have good ventilation. I think it's about 85 degrees out here. It's not terribly cold, so they shouldn't be freezing or anything, or getting too cold and dying or something. Anyway, I'm gonna finish up this comb and start sucking them all up. Hopefully I find the queen. Hopefully she's right back there behind that comb. That's the way it's been on most of these. Alright, it's 12:40 and there she is. There is the queen. Did exactly what was recommended with smoking them and driving them up into a corner and sucking them up. And then finally with that last comb, oh, I thought she got out. Finally with that last comb, I just went puff puff right up there in the corner to drive them all out. And there she was. Her coloring, man, her coloring is like, she just looks like a big bee. She's not like kind of reddish, you know, solid abdomen color, more or less. Can't really tell too well in this lighting, but yeah, she's got the tiger stripe kind of thing. Anyway, woo! Pretty much done. Just gotta suck them up and clean up here. And I'm done, probably by 1 a.m.